everybody, and once again, welcome to Whiskey and a Movie. I am your host, AJ, and tonight I am joined always by my dad, Jeff. And tonight is a very special episode of Christopher Nolan's, I think this would be his passion project, but it is his new epic that is at a runtime of 3 hours long, Oppenheimer, starring Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., and it is just one of those movies that no matter how long it is, you can just keep going back and back to.
Yes, but it was a Christopher Nolan movie, so you were never quite sure what year you were in. You were watching.
Yeah, it's
when you were watching.
Yeah, it's almost.
It's here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Nolan I don't really like, and it's the thing that Ryan Reynolds kind of poked fun at in his Deadpool movies when it comes to the X-Men movies. Like, what timeline are we in? The James McAvoy or in the Patrick Stewart? These are so damn confusing to keep up with. But one thing about Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer that really stands out is not just the sound editing, which you become so accustomed to a Christopher Nolan film to be like, okay, this is really going to sound really special, but it was Cillian Murphy's transformative performance as Robert J. Oppenheimer, right?
He was damn good.
I mean, guys,
it was incredible.
Everybody, the Oscar season has started in July. It is not often can you say that the Oscar season has started in July. Usually,
I would say it's finished in July.
It very well may be.
And for Best Picture.
Yeah, and I don't know for Best Supporting Actor, but there's like a few people you can nominate for Best Supporting Actor in this, including Robert Downey Jr. Is the obvious selection, right? I mean,
he would be my selection for Best Supporting Actor in this film.
But my dark horse in this film be Dane Dehaan as the Lieutenant Colonel in this. I think he can be a dark horse contender for this.
Yeah, but in terms of screen time, Downey and Damon.
Well, yeah. But Matt Damon's almost like LeBron James of acting. You almost expect this of him every performance, which may.
I can't believe he didn't put on a fat suit, though.
Right, yeah. After he watched that documentary the day after Trinity, right?
Well, some of the people watching this may have seen the sites comparing the actors,
right? Yeah,
to characters they're portraying, and
our man brought up their Wikipedia page during the movie.
Damon is just much more physically fit than the general he portrays.
Yeah, just a little.
It was a different era. It was a different era, and people, when they were had the mental capacity that the general had, the physical fitness wasn't as strict a requirement. He was a special talent.
And I think after the air performance, you would think he would kind of keep the same weight on for Oppenheimer.
Don't know. All right. So let's get into this movie.
So Oppenheimer, of course, we are in a race against time with Robert J. Oppenheimer and his team members of the Manhattan Project.
Yes, it's the Manhattan Project. This is it. Folks, it's a little bit like watching the Titanic. The ship does sink.
Yes.
The bomb does go off.
And like, if if you're such a diehard history buff, you know what happened.
Well, I knew what happened. I knew of the horror and the devastation to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I knew about how awful that was. But there were lots of historical facts and information in this movie that I did not know. And It's obviously it's not a documentary, but it's a very good movie.
It could be considered a docudrama.
Docudrama would be a nice way of putting it. Yes.
And so with the performances and the direction of Christopher Nolan, which everybody this may tie The Dark Knight with his best directing job. What do you think?
I think so. And it's certainly what was the war movie he made?
Dunkirk.
I had a hard time figuring out the timeline where we were because things were out of order. Oppenheimer is a little more consistent in that it's all taking place in one testimony room, and it's more like flashbacks.
Right,
But the flashbacks all come in order, or pretty much all come in order. So it's not as hard, and I was just, this is my vote for Best Picture of the Year.
I think it may be mine too, along with Best Director, Best Actor, and obviously Best Sound Editing, right? I mean, the way the sound in an IMAX was just next level.
Phenomenal.
I mean, we see
the picture in IMAX. We had one of the cuts filmed in IMAX, right?
But it was one of the smaller cuts in IMAX. So it wasn't 70 millimeter. It wasn't 35. It wasn't even IMAX with laser. So this was one of the regular formatted IMAX films that we see.
Very impressive.
And the black and white sequences in IMAX were just astounding.
Well, I mean, part of that was visual effect,
right?
To give you a certain aspect of what was going on at the time, a lot like The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot like The Wizard of Oz, where when Dorothy was in plain old Kansas, it was black and white. When she was in the wonderful land of Oz, it was in Technicolor. So,
I mean, it's just one of those unique movies that will get casual moviegoers to go see it, and you hope they respect the movie going.
It was a great movie. Our theater was full. We really enjoyed it. I thought people were very respectful.
And I thought you could really hear the sound of a pin drop in the theater too. Yeah. I mean, of course, you're going to hear talking. You're going to hear that at every movie you go to, no matter what section of the theater you go to, whether it be the middle of the row or the edge of the row. You just can't control those things. But with Oppenheimer, it's like everybody was locked in.
So, I want to get to what I paired with this.
What did you pair with this?
Well, of course, I paired a soda with it when we were in the theater. But when I get home and I'm talking about it,
you kind of have to at the theater unless the bar is open.
Yeah, we had an early screen, but I'm going to pick something that has been around since that time. So
good idea. Yeah,
I went with good old Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels has certainly been around since the time of Oppenheimer. He was popular then. He's popular now. And just like I said, Oppenheimer's my vote for movie of the year. Of course, we've got some more movies that we haven't even seen yet.
That may surprise us.
That may surprise me. But the number one selling whiskey in the world, Jack Daniels, my favorite.
And that also refers me to back in one of my favorite current hip-hop lines in a recognized song. I forget the title of it, but he says, "Who would have known me and JD would have been best friends?" And of course, he was referring to Jack Daniels. So, cheers.
Yeah, it wasn't Jimmy Dean.
And of course,
he makes great sausage.
But of course, with my opinion, this had to be a whiskey that you always go back to, or a spirit of your liking, vodka, gin, whatever you may like, that you usually want to go to when you're like, you know what, this is really good. I know what I like. I know what I love. I'm going to have this. And to me, one of those is the Blackened and Wes Henderson collaboration bottle. And of course, those of you who may not know, Wes Henderson is a co-founder of Angel's Envy. And Angel's Envy also produces my favorite rye, probably in the whole whiskey and bourbon game as well. Even though it clocks in at like $99 per bottle, right?
Yeah,
It's
expensive. It's not like a daily drinker. It's not like It's not like Jack or my number 2 choice.
I went and
you outspent me.
Yeah, but you know what? This is a movie where it's like we don't see these often. It's not.
Well, I mean, yeah, we paid to see it in IMAX. So
yeah. Not only that,
you went top dollar, so you went top dollar only cent.
Yeah, because IMAX is only $3. Shorter than seeing it in 40X, and it's about $10 more than it would be in standard. But I think we had to go see it in IMAX because can you imagine this on a standard screen or just watching it on our 75 inch at home?
It would still have been miraculous.
It would have, but
it's a great story. It's well told.
Yeah. And according to the actresses in this movie, I mean, obviously Emily Blunt is great.
She deserves a Best Supporting Actress. Although,
do
you get a Best Supporting Actress?
Yes, you do.
Lead actress in the movie?
Because it depends on how they would categorize.
This was the 1940s. We lived in a very male-centric world. It was interesting to see the families that went to Los Alamos, even the wives who had advanced degrees, found themselves working in the library or working as a typist because it was so chauvinistic. Excuse me. Distasteful. I guess that's why I had that lump in my throat.
Right. And Florence Pugh also as one of Oppenheimer's better friends. And that was very good too.
Oh yes, she did a good job. She did a good job. It's interesting for us today to look back at the communist hysteria.
I always say that's close enough. The communist hysteria, because the Planet of the Apes was kind of made in the same.
No, it was much later.
Much later. Okay, yeah,
it's much later. Planet of the Apes is the '60s. It was when we were actually fearing what Oppenheimer tried to prevent, and that was when we were working with mutually assured destruction.
Yeah,
MAD. What one hell of a national policy. Mutually assured destruction. So if you launch your weapons, we'll launch our weapons, and we'll destroy each other.
So I saw you already drank yours. So what did you get on the nose and the palate of your?
This is Jack Daniels. This is classic Jack Daniels. I get a little butterscotch, a mild banana when I drink Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, always be very, very good to me.
Yeah, Jack Daniels is a classic. It's kind of like, is Gentleman Jack also produced by Jack Daniels?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah.
Gentleman Jack is Jack Daniels that has been through the charcoal mellowing process twice. Okay. Regular Jack Daniels goes through charcoal mellowing once. It is distilled, then it goes through the sugar maple charcoal, and then it is put in the barrel and aged. Gentleman Jack is aged in the barrel and then run through the charcoal again before they put it into the bottle.
Yeah, and
it's double charcoal mellowed.
That's one of the ones I really fell in love with when I was first drinking, when I became of age, is Gentleman Jack.
Okay. Gentleman Jack's smooth, no doubt about it. You poured yourself a pretty big sample there, bud.
Sorry, but
you do like the blackened, I know.
Yeah, I do like the blackened, and with this, I get kind of like a burnt cinnamon on the nose. And with the palate, I get kind of that usual black licorice that you may get with a lot of ryes.
Okay.
And do you want to sample mine?
Sure.
And I'll let you pour that so I don't pour you.
Yeah, but don't pour me at the end like you did. We still got. How's that poem go? Miles and miles to go before I sleep.
And I don't want to become I am death, now the destroyer of worlds.
No, that quote gets hammered out of Vishnu and Oppenheimer a couple times during the movie.
And you know what I really loved? The sequences with Albert Einstein and Oppenheimer in this as well.
Yeah, and again, like I said, that he didn't look. He's close to Einstein, but he didn't look as close as some of the other casting. I mean, Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer, damn, they look close. It is.
Yeah, it's almost fathomable.
Uncanny.
Yeah,
uncanny.
And so, what do you get on the nose and the palate of Blackened by Wes Anderson?
Well, I do get a little bit of that licorice on the nose that you talked about.
Well, I got that on the palate. I got the burnt cinnamon on the nose.
I may be suggestive, you know. That happens sometimes when you're drinking whiskey with friends. If somebody says something, oh, yeah, that's what I was tasting. That happens.
Like, what was it that you keep telling people that a lot of people get banana bread on it?
No, I mean, Jack Daniels, the most common note picked up by a lot of people is banana.
Yeah.
A lot of people get banana from Jack Daniels. Oh, yeah, I do.
The licorice, I get a lot.
I didn't get the licorice on the palate. I got the licorice on the finish.
On the finish, okay.
The finish is where it came through for me. So,
and guys, this is the cask strength. And Dad, you can tell them what cask strength means because you're the one that does the Whiskey University.
Cask strength means that's the strength that comes out of the barrel.
And this is at 58.1
ABV. Alcohol by volume.
And it is 116.2 proof. So if you're some of the people that we know a lot of that only like 90 and below when you're drinking, you probably
cut this with a little bit of water.
Yeah. That's a good way to take that in with a little bit of water.
Yeah. I get black jelly beans on this.
Black jelly beans, interesting. And what would you call the flavor of black jelly beans? Would it just be licorice?
Licorice, yeah.
I was going to say, isn't it the same thing that I would say?
Tomato.
You're cutting hairs here. But overall, Oppenheimer, by far, leading contender of Best Picture this year.
Oh, yeah.
What have we seen this year that would even come close? Because you hated Asteroid City, and I loved that one. Lee.
Yeah, that one was.
I think Asteroid City, folks, is going to be one of those ones.
It was right up there with Moonrise Kingdom.
I thought you liked Moonrise Kingdom by Wes Anderson. Because you just
Wes Anderson.
Anderson.
You're drinking Wes Anderson.
Yeah. Sorry.
They have to cut him off soon, folks.
Luckily, I only have one more. But
all right, you want to know the other one I chose to?
Yeah, go ahead and talk with the other one that you chose.
So, the other one I chose also has been around since the time of Oppenheimer. It's been around a long, long time. Pre-Prohibition. All the way back.
Wow, pre-Prohibition?
Pre-Prohibition, going all the way back to 1835. But I chose Old Crow because Dr. James Crow brought new processes to the whiskey industry. He sanitized things. He made things more methodical, more chemical based, more scientific based than they had been before. Before, it had just been the good old boy who knew the most, knew it the best, stick his thumb up in the air, test which way the wind's blowing. That's the way they made the whiskey. Dr. James Crowe made sure that the whiskey was consistent. He kept very detailed and accurate records, and he helped install new processes and new equipment. Very much like Oppenheimer did with the Manhattan Project.
Yes.
He was good at math. He was good at science, but he was probably best at motivating a team towards the team goal.
And as we saw,
he had the vision and the knowledge to keep that team goal focused.
Yeah. But as we saw in the movie, he was strategically mainly a theorist.
Yes.
If something didn't go right in the theory of the equation, he was like, no, it's not possible. You can't do this. He was very pessimistic about the.
Well, I mean, there you've already seen it from the trailers. If you've seen the trailers, that he tells General Leslie Groves that there is a chance, very small, but there's a chance that when they fire the first nuclear bomb, they'll set off a chain reaction that will destroy the world.
And if you hear the dialogue in the movie, Matt Damon's character, who was
General Leslie Groves,
asked Cillian Murphy's character, Oppenheimer, what's the exact sense? And of course, Robert J. Oppenheimer, portrayed by Cillian Murphy, replies with the iconic near zero.
What do you want from theory? And Matt Damon's General Leslie Groves says, I want zero.
Yeah. And you know, like, how much could a movie instantly become a classic with having such?
There are a few good lines in that movie that are instant classic.
Yeah. And I think this movie may come down to being, when it's all said and done about this century, that this may be one we can keep in the time capsule and be like, yeah, you want to see how movies are made? Look at this one. It's kind of like Zane. Well, it's not like it because they're completely different genres. But an example of perfect filmmaking, I would say, is look at Christopher Nolan's career, including Oppenheimer, and then compare it to James Cameron's earlier work, including Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, if you really want to study filmmaking, just look at those two films.
Okay. Very, very good point. Very good point, AJ. Very good point. So what'd you pick for your second whiskey?
Well, this one is George Remus, and you can tell them exactly what it is because.
So this is straight bourbon whiskey, 94 proof. George Remus was the king of the bootleggers. Why did you?
Well, because
George
Remus, especially that bottle, has been going on me a little.
Okay.
And you know what? Some co-workers of Robert J. Oppenheimer could say, he's new on them from time to time, while others are like, they just detest him. No matter what you say, Oppenheimer was a security risk. He was a communist. He was this, that, and the other. But
my impression was Oppenheimer was just impossible to peg down in any.
Right, yeah, but George Remus I selected solely because of the fact that I've really grown to become a fan of this George Remus bottle, and I really like it.
I've already poured me some.
Okay, and so now here's what we think of it.
Oh.
So what do you get on the nose, Dad?
Not getting a lot on the nose. But
Yeah, we've been having a few.
we
got to.
we've this is our second episode in a row we've filmed, so we're here a little bit.
And I'm neutralizing my smell. I am stepping the back of my hand, which is
that's a wonderful technique. Yes, AJ. Oh,
so
yes, that helped.
Almost getting apple on the nose.
Green apple.
Yes.
Yes.
Like would it be a Granny Smith green apple?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of apple. A little bit of cinnamon in there. Cinnamon seems to be what I always say, but
even though I detest cinnamon, I always go to it with the palate or the nose, and my experience is really deconstructive with how I think.
I'm having a hard time with what I'm picking up on the palate. I'll let you go first this time.
Maybe a little bit of ginger. Is that what I'm getting?
Ginger, the spice you love.
I don't know, bud. I mean, we drank quite a few tonight because this is our second episode of the night.
Well, I'm getting spices.
Like black pepper or...
I was thinking a little bit of thyme, but yeah, there's definitely some pepper there. Okay. Well, does that wrap it up?
So overall, what did you think of Oppenheimer? Because obviously we've already said this
5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. I mean, this is one you go seek out in the theaters no matter what format you can see it on. But obviously, the bigger the screen, the better, even if it's, this was playing at our local Discovery place.
Oh, good. Oh, in IMAX. That's great.
But I don't know if our local Discovery place has IMAX with laser.
I don't know if they have IMAX with laser either, but they do have IMAX. So yes, folks, definitely go see this movie.
It's one of the movies you'll be talking about for a long time after the credits roll, and especially the performances. And you know what? As long as we're talking about scene stealers and the supporting cast, I think his name is Macon Blair. He directed The Green Room with Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart. He was on the lead defense team for Oppenheimer in the courtroom. He was queen saving. He had that kind of black hair.
Okay.
He was sitting on the left side of the table.
All right. Okay.
He was very good. And then when it got closer to the end, Jason Clarke did a really good job too at going against Oppenheimer.
The acting all around was very good in this movie. Highly recommend this movie. If you don't have a lot of money to spend, I recommend my 2 bottles. If you've got money to spare, go with what AJ picked.
Is Rainmist another expensive one?
Yeah, it's about $65 a fifth. And the Black and West Henderson is about $135 a fifth. So here I am at 25 and 18. Yeah. It depends on what you want to go to.
Yeah, but Oppenheimer is worth it. So these 2 bottles will be worth your time too. Even if you want to impress somebody, like, hey, look what I got.
All right. Say goodnight, AJ.
All right, everybody. Until next time, this has been Whiskey and a Movie. And until next time, enjoy your drinking, drink responsibly. And until then, hope you have a good time.